वेलकम बैक लिसनर्स, वेलकम बैक टू रेडियो जिंदगी ऑन 1550 AM। मैं हूं आपके साथ में ईरा। शो लेके आए हैं आपके लिए गुड मॉर्निंग जिंदगी, जिसमें अब हमारे साथ जुड़ते हैं अटॉर्नी शाह पिराली। यस लिसनर्स, अटॉर्नी शाह पिराली इज द फाउंडर, प्रेसिडेंट एंड मैनेजिंग अटॉर्नी ऑफ द शाह पिराली लॉ ग्रुप, which is headquartered right here in Newark, California. He is a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association as well as the State Bar of California. He is a passionate advocate of human rights, civil rights, social action, and social services, and he has a strong interest in and knowledge of the political and the legal system here in the US. He formed his law group to work on the causes जिसके बारे में उनको और उनकी टीम को सबसे ज्यादा strongly feel होता है, which is immigration law, and also with an emphasis on employment-based immigration खास करके। तो जितने भी उनके क्लाइंट्स हैं यूएस में, उन सभी को वो हेल्प करते हैं। देयर ऑफिसेज आर हियर इन न्यूयॉर्क, सैन फ्रांसिस्को एंड वॉशिंगटन डीसी। आप उनकी वेबसाइट पे जा सकते हैं, गेट मोर इन्फॉर्मेशन अबाउट देम ऑन piralilaw.com, दैट्स PEERALLYLAW.com, and the number to call them is 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. एंड मेक एन अपॉइंटमेंट टू स्पीक टू हिम। या फिर अगर आप अभी उनसे कोई सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं, राइट नाउ अ जेनरिक क्वेश्चन अबाउट योर केस और जस्ट अ क्वेरी, यू कैन कॉल अस राइट अवे ऑन द स्टूडियो नंबर। द लाइन्स आर ओपन। नंबर है 510-770-1550। दैट्स 510-770-1550. So without any further ado, Attorney Shah, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Ira, for the nice welcome, and thank you to all the listeners for being faithful to the show. I'm doing okay, and hopefully you're all doing okay with all the things going on. We're going to talk about immigration law, of course, but also about social issues related to immigration. And also, of course, everything I'm telling you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. So, Ira, anything in mind today, or you want me to just jump in?
You could definitely start talking about what you have in mind today.
Okay. First of all, we got the announcement, I think it was today, that the USCIS have reached the cap of H1B. As you know, last year when we had the lottery system, they had the lottery twice because they didn't meet the cap. It was a good thing. So people who didn't make it on the first time, some of them made it on the second time. But unfortunately, this time, for many, it's not the case. So they pretty much kind of reached the 65,000 for the regular cap and the 20,000 for the master's cap. So at this point, everybody's, if you have not been selected, that means you're not in the lottery for this year. Hopefully you can try next year. And if you need help and if you need to get ready early, give us a call, 510-742-5887. So as I mentioned, the cap is reached now. So we need to kind of look for alternatives to H1B and for those who didn't get an H1B. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to take questions if you have any questions. So if Ira has any questions through the text or questions online, feel free to reach out. And if you want a private consultation, 510-742-5887. Yes, Ira, anything from your side?
No, definitely. I want to repeat the studio number for the listeners. Listeners, you can call if you have any question about H1B, especially this year's lottery. You can call on 510-770-1550, just like this radio frequency, 510-770-1550. Let's get started, Attorney Shah.
Yes, indeed. As I mentioned now, the H1B lottery, the cap is met. Not going to see any kind of selection now at this point until next year for the next fiscal year. This was the fiscal year 2023, and as I said, today they announced that the 65,000 regular cap and the 20,000 master cap have been met. Now, what happens if you have not been selected? What happens to you? If you are on a student visa and OPT, that's fine and it's continuing. You can continue on that and next year try again. Now, what happens if you're reaching the OPT and you won't be able to move you can't really kind of get an H1B, then the options are available are probably either to continue the student visa of course, and some people are going to ask me, can I use CPT? I don't recommend it, but it's a case-by-case basis, so call me and we'll decide on that. But one option that people don't look at usually is the O1 visa. These are for extraordinary abilities, while for outstanding professors and researchers, but it can be used for other people. So you might want to think about that, and we might be able to help you. But just to let you know, not everybody qualifies for this. It has become a little bit more strict than when we were talking about it last year and the years before, but still it's available. So check on O1 visa. That might be an option for you. The good thing with O1 doesn't have limitation in years, and it also doesn't have such a strict rules like H1B on the salary, etc. So this is one good option for the company. The other option, of course, is the F1, continuing on the F1 visa, and that will decide if you want to go. I don't recommend same level of education. CPT day one, that's a no-no. It can be dangerous for you. What it means, for example, you have a master's degree and you take a second master's degree and then you take a CPT on day one. That can really give you make a lot of problems for you in the future. So be careful about that. Now, the other option, if you're from Canada, for example, Canadian citizens, you might be eligible for the TN visa. The TN1 visa is a visa that is allowed for Canadian citizens. It's actually simpler to apply, but it has to be a job which is under the appendix of NAFTA. So you can Google that also, TN1 visa for people from Canada and even Mexico, by the way. Mexicans also have it because they're under the NAFTA agreement. Now, the other option, if you're an Australian citizen, you have the E3 visa, which is open pretty much all over the year. So you can also look into that. It has kind of the same requirements, although people don't know if it is a dual intent visa or not. It's not really a dual intent visa. And I'll talk a little bit about the dual intent visa in a few, but dual intent visa is basically means that you can have the intent of having a green card while having this visa. So E3 and TN are not really dual intent visa, but they are situations when you can move to a green card, etc. So those are for people who are Australian citizens. And it's not the country of birth, by the way, it's the country of citizenship. Now, if you're also a citizen of Singapore, you might be eligible for also the H1 for Singapore and Chile. If you're from those countries, citizens of those countries, you might get an H1. There's another H1 which a lot of people, unfortunately, it's not available, many of them in terms of getting the jobs, is for non-profit educational situations. It doesn't work all the time, but it is an option. It is open pretty much all over the year, so you can take advantage also of that. So those are the few options that might be available. Some people also, if you are born outside India or China, you might be eligible for a straight green card. And that's where a lot of people get confused because they think that you have to be an H1B to file for a green card. The answer is no. But there are some limitations, and I won't have time in those few minutes to talk about all of them. So if in case you are born, even if you're Indian citizens, for example, let's say you're an Indian citizen, you were born in Dubai. You don't get the citizenship of Dubai or even anything extra, but the fact that you are born outside India gives you a priority on the priority date, and the dates are current, you might be eligible for a straight green card. So look into all that, and of course we have the national interest waiver, the EB1A, straight green cards for people. So all those options are available, and you don't have to stick only to H1B. Now, of course, if you have worked for a branch or an affiliate or a subsidiary of a company outside, and they are having a branch here in the U.S. or opening a branch, you might be eligible for L1A or L1B visas. And those are other options that are also available. Now, looking at all those options, oftentimes people are so stuck in the H1B kind of mindset that they forget about those other options. So it's good to talk to a lawyer, and you can talk to us. Usually when I talk to a client, I analyze things for a solution. I just don't kind of go with what the client wants. It's also what is possible. It's not also, it's usually what is possible. So a lot of people just kind of get focused on the H1B, I should say, and they forget about all the other goodies that are out there, and they end up buying their chance. And of course, we have, if there's an H1, you can move to H4, H4 EAD, etc., etc. So I highly recommend that you talk to a lawyer, and you can call us at the office. We can do a consultation, and we can give you a second opinion, 510-742-5887. Anything to add on that, or anything you want to ask?
We were getting a call that got dropped in between. So, listener, I'd like to remind you that you can call us right back on the same number. And other callers also, if you have any questions about immigration that you'd like to speak to Attorney Shah Pirali about, आप हमें अभी फोन कर सकते हैं on 510-770-1550. That's 510-770-1550. या फिर if you'd like to have a private discussion with Attorney Shah about your case or about your scenario, if you have to divulge details, sensitive information, and you don't want to do it on air, आप उनसे directly बात कीजिए. Make an appointment by calling the office number 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. And the website for more information about Pirali Law is the website piralilaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. Yes, Attorney Shah, let's continue.
Yes, indeed. As I mentioned, there are many other options, alternatives to H1B that many people don't really kind of look into because they don't know about them, and they are never being proposed by most lawyers because many of them are also so focused on H1Bs themselves.
So this O1 visa that you were talking about when you started talking about different visas, how do people find out if they qualify or not? How difficult or easy is that?
Well, you can go online and try to research, but unfortunately right now, one thing I've noticed, whenever you research something, the internet is flooded with wrong information, especially from forums or people who know a little and they will write about things and they mix up everything. So the best is to talk to a lawyer who's familiar with this. And unfortunately, not many lawyers are really going to all those options for clients. They just stick to one option and they just kind of run it in certain terms. But you need to talk to someone who will look at all the avenues. And that's what I do when I do a consultation. I already have a kind of almost a checklist in my mind, a certain question I will ask people. They might qualify. For example, I'm talking to a client about an H1B, and then I ask them the question, have you ever been a victim of a crime, like, for example, a robbery or something like that? And they'll say, oh, yes, it did happen to me last year, everything. You might qualify for a U visa. And now with the U visa, even though it takes time to get the U visa itself, you might get an EAD. Although you can even maintain another status. For example, you can maintain your F1 while you have your U visa EAD and work on that. So these are options that are available that people don't know until you talk to them. And unfortunately, if the lawyer doesn't really go over it, just going online, you won't find all those options automatically. I'm talking about this here, and I'll probably post it on the YouTube. It might pick up on the YouTube. You might get someone like me talking about it. But even talking about it in general, you might think you qualify for it or don't qualify for it. But until you talk to someone already experienced, you won't really be able to figure this out. So this is a chance to do a consultation with us or with a good lawyer, 510-742-5887, and I will be glad to assess this for you.
All right. So once again, listeners, the number is 510-742-5887. But right now, the call lines are open. So if you have any questions, we have 10 more minutes to go. Right now is the best time to ask your question to Attorney Shah Pirali. Studio number is 510-770-1550. Yes, let's continue.
Yes, indeed. As I was mentioning, the H4 EAD is an option for someone who's married. Their spouse has an H1B and an I-140 approved, or have an extension beyond 6 years. So all these are available for H4 visa holders. But since we were talking about H4 visa holders, it's been a long time we don't talk about this. Not a long time. I think last 2 weeks ago I spoke about it.
Mm-hmm.
We have this petition online to help people who are in a difficult marriage situation and on H4. And I get a lot of those calls right now. I think at least once or twice a month, I will get a consultation where someone is going through a divorce, and they end up by not having anything to hold on to. And unfortunately, the law doesn't really give anything to hold on to, except if you have been abused physically, you might get a U visa. But even the U visa, then if you have the U visa, you might be able to stay, but you can't travel, etc. So we are hoping that the government will change it. But the way things are going with all the problems around the world, I don't think they will consider it soon. But we have to keep on the fight, and we have the petition online on change.org. Please sign the petition and share it with your friends. And we have reached almost 700 signatures so far. So we need at least 4,000 or 5,000 signatures to make some kind of change, right? At least push the case, because right now, if less people are worried about it, then it won't really kind of have an impact on changing the law. Because, for example, when we had the H4EAD to change the law, we had 7,000 signatures, and we had an open letter to President Obama. Well, I did an open letter. We went all the news, etc. And the law was changed in 2015, but it took us 5 years to change it. So I'm hoping we can still do the same, but a lot of things have changed. We had the pandemic, we have now the economic downturn, and a lot of factors in. Speaking about, to move to the next topic, it seems, although they're not admitting it completely, we are in some kind of recession, because more and more I talk to my clients, a lot of them are either getting laid off or actually, not my clients, but consultations, I would say. And some of them are also seeing a freeze on hiring. Big companies, a lot of them are freezing their hiring. And that, what it does, number one, it kind of limits the opportunity for people to move from one job to another. And also it creates a problem when it comes to filing for the green card, because if there's a layoff within 6 months, it becomes difficult for the company to actually file for the green card. So one piece of recommendation, I should not say an advice, but a recommendation, is if you are at a job right now, things are okay, don't try to move unless you have all the data on the company you're moving to. I repeat that. And if you are in an okay position and you know your company is still strong, make sure you just don't move and jump, because suddenly you might see yourself in situations, especially if you have companies like startups and small companies, they might end up having they don't get their funding. You end up by losing your job and losing the green card, et cetera, not lose a green card, but not a chance to file for the green card. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, big companies tend to really kind of block the green cards, while smaller companies are more flexible. They might give you a better chance. So you need to balance things out. So one has its good, they both have their own good pros and cons. So make sure you talk to someone experienced and who worked with those situations to before you can make a decision. So it's very important. A lot of people will call me, tell me, Shah, should I move or not move? Well, right now I am advising not to move unless it's necessary, because things are going to get tough, and it's going to get tougher. There's no way out of this. The world is already in a recession. We are having huge inflation all around the world. I know economics a little bit because that's my background. So looking at things, it doesn't look great for many countries. But having said that, it might look great for America, because America is a stronger economy, and plus we have the ability to produce a lot of things that other countries cannot produce. What will happen in this situation, for example, if China's economy is not doing well, and the banking sector might collapse completely, like ours did in 2008, because of the loans and the system they have on housing. It might create a lot of problem. But what will happen in this case, if China's economy flatters, then what you will see U.S. relying on its own economy to produce things, and that will require labor. And when they require labor, since we don't have such a high birth rate, we're going to see a lot of hiring happening in some manufacturing sector, which means hiring in the service sector to basically monitor that. And robotics and stuff like that will become big. So the recession and the inflation is a double-edged sword. It might be bad for the economy, but it might be good for immigration. I'm just saying that like that because I've studied the whole thing, what is happening. And again, I might be completely wrong, but everybody knows things are not going to be great. 2023 is going to be worse. Some economists think that it will hold on for 3 years, and hopefully we will get out of it. But I see other factors coming in, like climate change. By the way, my heart goes to the people of Texas with all the floods going on, while in California we are having drought. So all these will factor in the system, and technology will be highly used if we can use it. So people in the technology sector will probably have more jobs coming soon. And now we have this new act passed by Biden with renewable energy. We might see also jobs being offered in that field. So watch out for that, and make sure if you're transferring your H1B, you pick one of those industries that will survive the hit. At the same time, there's no way to tell if they're good or not, but try your best to figure it out. That was just my point of view, by the way. I might be completely wrong. But analyzing all the data and seeing a lot of things happening, I think many countries are going to suffer a lot. Europe is already kind of, even the euro now has fallen below the dollar, which I think never happened before, if I'm not mistaken. And China, watch out for China in the next 30 days to 45 days. If things go bad there, it will have a huge ripple effect on all over the world, because the system of lending there has really collapsed, and two major developers of properties have already one I think Evergrande filed quit, and I don't know if they have bankruptcy system or something there. And yesterday was Country Gardens or something like that. So it will have an impact if we don't live in a bubble, in a globalized system. So they say if one country sneezes, another one catches a cold. It was usually the U.S. sneezes, the rest of the world catches Europe catches a cold, and the rest of the world is pneumonia. But in this case, we are going to see China doing the same, because a lot of small countries rely on China, and that will have an impact on the world economy. Let's pray China doesn't collapse, because that will be bad for all of us. At the same time, the effect will be U.S. will probably be hiring a lot of more people soon if we start production, and they have already started in some places. So let's watch out on this. And having said that, again, this is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any question. I think we're almost done. I spoke a lot today. I didn't realize it went so fast.
We are at the end of the show, yes. Sorry, you were saying something, Attorney Shah.
I just wanted to say thank you for listening, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ShahPiraliLaw. I'm trying now to put more videos with all the things happening. I always say that. I'll try to put more stuff. So please subscribe and check our website, PiraliLaw.com, like my name, PiraliLaw.com. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week.
Thank you, Attorney Shah. Thank you very much for being here with us. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Remember, you can log on to the website, PiraliLaw.com, or call on 510-742